LifeFocus is a 7-day conference hosted in Topeka, Kansas that provides high schoolers and college students a 7-day experience of digging deep into the Word and studying various concepts and areas of Scripture. Each day we have a speaker come in, whether a pastor or an elder, and they'll take on a certain topic or a certain story of Scripture and go through it slowly in the series of 3 or 4 lectures, giving you a good idea of what's happening and what we can get out of it as young people.
This year we looked at God's covenants, and throughout biblical history we looked at the progression of His covenant starting in Genesis 3:15 up into, we're going to be looking at the New Covenant.
We've had some really amazing speakers. I think at the very beginning when Joel Wood started talking about the depravity of man and just starting from the utter depravity of man all the way up to, later on Kit Schwartz talking about Jesus and how He fulfills all of the covenants, because that's really the drama of redemption is just the unfolding story of Jesus. It's all about Jesus, it's all about God's glory and just how that unfolds like a big story.
Well, something I really enjoyed this year was psalm singing. Jonathan Haney talked a lot about how important the Psalms are, what David's thought process back then was, and how a lot of the things he wrote were prophecies of Christ, and we do actually sing about Christ in the Psalter, and that was encouraging to me.
Near the beginning of the week we talked about how in the story of the redemption, the point of the story isn't necessarily the events that happen, but the way God's working in them. And that's really cool to look at the Bible, and instead of reading a story about just about the people, seeing how it's about God and Jesus and the gospel, and He's using the people.
One of the big things that I've taken away learning about God is a lot of the things that I've known, head knowledge, has really become heart knowledge, where I can see His plan through history and see it in great detail.
I definitely want to think more about what God's purpose is for my life, because I really want to think about what does God want to do with me for my entire life, like not just the next 4 years, because it's like, oh, there's school that takes care of the next 4 years, but then what? And even in those 4 years, what is that preparing me for? What is God's purpose in that? And I really want to sit down and be like, and think through what is God using me for in those 4 years of education and beyond.
I think that it's just our life in America here is extremely frivolous, and I read history books and I see all the people and what they did and the bravery they had and things like that, and working hard and respecting people, and this life is just, in America right now, it's just really, to me, it's very boring and lame, and just it doesn't have anything to live for. We're living for pop singers and football players. What's that all about? So for LifeFocus, we're finding reasons to live. The reasons aren't being really good at singing or anything like that. It's about living for Christ and spreading the good news, because other people don't live boring lives like us and have everything they need. And it is really easy for us to forget about Christ, and I think that's what we've done. We've become so comfortable and easygoing that we've thrown God out the window. And I think we need to refocus our attention on Christ, because that's what our life is about. And without Christ, there's really nothing to live for.